13-year-old boy is able to sneak past the airport security at Kabul. Now, he is not a passenger, he is not even on the flight list, but he is going to try and hide in the darkest and deadliest part of the aircraft, and that is wheel well. Now, at 30,000 to 40,000 feet at which aircraft flies, most of people can die within few minutes. But when the flight lands at Delhi airport, airport officials and staffs find the boy alive. This is a story of miraculous survival of a 13-year-old boy from Afghanistan, from Kunduz region of Afghanistan, who has defied all the odds. So what is this a story about? Let us try to delve deeper and understand that how he was able to survive, and first of all why he is hiding in the wheel well. So to give you a background of this particular incident, a 13-year-old boy from the Kunduz region of Afghanistan, he actually wanted to board flight to go to Iran as such, but at the airport he got confused and rather he entered into a flight that was coming to Delhi. The flight was being operated by a well-known Afghani airline company called as Kam Air, and then he stored himself inside the rear wheel well of the aircraft as such. And when finally the aircraft is able to land at the Delhi airport, the overall duration of journey was somewhere about 90 minutes, and then the boy was carrying a small red colored audio speaker with himself. He did not have any other stuff, he did not have any other baggages and all, he just was traveling with a red colored audio speaker. And finally, when the airport officials and the staff found him running and moving here and there in the kurta pajama, the Afghan traditional dress, then they got confused and then they alerted the authorities. Then further he was taken to immigration, where he talked about his plan to go to Iran, but accidentally and interestingly he landed in Delhi as such. Now again, as far as his story is concerned, once immigration official determined that his entry to India was illegal, he was deported back in the same evening by the same flight, but now in the form of passenger. Now the question that comes to our mind is that how this entire wheel well of any aircraft work. So first of all, to give you an idea about the landing gear compartment of the aircraft. Now if you talk about the landing gear itself is made up of several components. For example, one of the major component you have with the wheel and the upper part that retracts back inside the well as such. So commercial aircraft typically cruise at the altitude of 30,000 to 40,000 feet, and this altitude is very deadly, very dangerous if you are in the wheel well, because here temperature can easily dip to minus 50 degrees Celsius. Also, this part of the wheel well, because it is not accommodated by any person, it is largely unpressurized and unheated. That means you will not even have sufficient oxygen to breathe at this particular height. That makes it very, very difficult for anyone to survive if they are basically we can say traveling in this particular wheel well as such. Now before understanding how this entire system works, how the wheel and the landing gear system of aircraft work, I would want to bring your attention to the fact that at Legacy IAS Academy we are going to soon commence our regular weekday and weekend batches. The weekday batches are going to start on 22nd of September and 16th of October, while the weekend batches are going to commence on 4th and 25th of October, taking care of the needs of aspirants who are preparing along with the full-time job or full-time studies. Now obviously at Legacy IAS Academy, we ensure that we have a comprehensive coverage of all GS papers in our course programs. We focus on one-to-one mentorship and doubt solving tailored for each of the aspirants. We ensure that there should be regular interaction with educators, and for that we strictly have a policy of maximum 40 students per batch. Now also, because the preparation of UPSC requires an integrated effort right from the start, right to the beginning, and that is why we emphasize on daily mains answer writing practice and then evaluation by the peers as such. Now test series for prelims and mains examination is a very crucial part of the program, because without understanding your strength and weaknesses, the subjects in which you have to work more and less, you cannot basically have a good understanding and the command over the examination. Now, if you want to know detail about this course and the program features, you can click the link in the description box of this particular video. You can also download our Legacy IAS app that will help you and go a long way in ensuring smooth preparation for the civil services. Now, coming back to this particular topic, first of all, the question that comes that how do the airplane wheels work as such? So, aircraft wheels we talk about are part of a large system, big system. The entire system itself is called as landing gear. Now, landing gear has several functions, but the two most important functions if we highlight here is that to absorb the landing impact. That means when the aircraft land at the airport, it is landing gear on which majority of the impact is transferred, and then after this the wheel can turn and allow aircraft to taxi and also aircraft to come to stop. And same is the situation if the aircraft is about to take off. First it has to take a momentum, bring it up itself to a speed, and that speed is produced by the wheels and landing gear as such. Now this entire landing gear itself is equipped with hydraulic brakes and shock absorbers, as you can see from this particular photograph. That means if you look at this particular photograph of landing gear, this is something that is called as L-sept. You have this what you can call as this gear, and then here you have what you can call as oleo struts is a term that is used here. It is the oleo struts that absorb majority of the shock that is produced by the aircraft when it is either taking off or when it is landing as such. So oleo struts and this L-sept, this rod, we can say iron rod that we have, steel rod that we have, is the major part of the landing gear, and obviously apart from that you have the tires that rotate and allow aircraft to move. But once aircraft is airborne, once it goes in the atmosphere, it no longer requires this landing gear and the entire tire system, and because if it keeps on extending out from the aircraft, it will produce extra drag and aircraft will not be able to attain the desired velocity as such. So once the aircraft is on board, the entire system is actually retracted, and after retraction this entire system goes inside this vacant area that you see, and this is what we call as wheel well, the well where the wheel fail, or where the well or the region where the wheel is retracted when the aircraft is airborne as such. So once it is retracted, reduction of drag is seen and the aircraft is able to take the desired speed at which it wants to fly as such. Now again the same process is repeated when the aircraft is coming back. On landing, wheels extend back and lock securely, and the wheel well is basically the small enclosed space that we have discussed. Again, it is neither pressurized nor heated. So in this particular case, if you look at the 13-year-old boy from Afghanistan, he must have placed himself somewhere in this particular interior compartment, and when the wheel retracted, he was able to remain in the same area. Again at the Delhi airport, he would have come out from this particular area as such. Now the question comes that why traveling in the wheel well is so dangerous. Answer is simple: because it is not pressurized, so you have lack of oxygen. It is not heated, temperature can drop to -50°C, and there is very high chance of fatal injury also, because landing gear is continuously moving, it is being retracted, it is being sent outside, and also because the aircraft keep on changing its position while it's moving in the airspace as such. So there is a chance of falling from the aircraft also. Thus, what we can call as the mortality rate is very high, and if you look at the numbers given by the Federal Aviation Authority of United States of America, it is believed that between 1947 to 2021, 132 attempts of traveling in the wheel well has been made, and 77% of those people who made the attempt died finally, and most of them have died due to injuries or hypoxia. Hypoxia is the condition where you do not have enough oxygen. That means your brain cannot get enough oxygen, and your brain will basically what you can call as a brain death kind of situation. Hypothermia is because you are dying because the temperature is very low, your body cannot adjust to such temperature. Now going back in the past, we have very interesting example from India also. It was in the 1996 when two persons from the Punjab region boarded means basically they have placed themselves in the wheel well of British Airways flight. They were brothers Pradeep and Vijay Sani. The flight was going from Delhi to London, so it was a very long journey, and unfortunately Pradeep survived. However, Vijay died during the mid-flight, and his photograph you can see from here. So this is another example from India also, and in this particular case, we talk about the Afghanistan boy, why he was able to survive if it is so dangerous, so life-threatening to travel in well. So experts argue that first of all, it is unusual case, a miraculous case, but this also can be traced to the fact that the journey of the flight was very short. It was only 90 minutes, and also the flight was not traveling at very high altitude, and that is generally the case if the journey time is very small, because the aircraft will have to again come back and enter the troposphere as such. So survival chances of this boy was relatively higher compared to long haul flights which can fly for several hours as such. So this is how we can understand the shorter journey and the lower altitude at which flight was this cruising could have contributed in the safety of this boy. Now the lessons we have to learn from this entire incident and also from early incident is that obviously there is need of a tight controlling and monitoring of the air side access. That means once you are in the aircraft, for example, in the around the landing strip areas and all that, there need to be tighter monitoring and security. And also it emphasizes that how people are able to risk their life, why people are able to risk their life just to travel from one country to the other country. There has a large scale desperation, we can understand, is there to migrate from their homeland as such. And this is something that we also saw in Afghanistan earlier when Taliban took control. Many of the Afghanistani people of different ages try to place themselves in the wheel well and try to move out of Afghanistan as such, and there also we have seen mortality. So overall it raises question about the aviation safety, that wheel well stowaways are extremely unsafe. This is already understood, and we should ensure and do whatever we can ensure at the airport that no person is allowed to enter here, no person is allowed to basically place himself in such kind of situation. That is all about this particular video. If you like the video, please hit like button, share it with your aspirants, and subscribe to the channel for more such content. Thank you very much.